Okay, first off, I want to thank all the people who have stuck with the House of L YouTube channel, even though there hasn't been a ton of content coming its way. Don't worry, that is going to change. That is part of the reason why you're going to be seeing me do some of this. So here's one of the plans is that I'm going to add a little commentary onto the columns that I write for the Sun-Times. So my latest column for the Sun-Times, and I tweeted it. And if you saw the link for this on Twitter, the column is probably above it. And if not, if you just consume stuff this way, I think that that's cool too. I wrote about David Ross, and I wrote about how I've been on vacation. And one of the ways that I usually get myself back into the flow of stuff that we're going to do on the radio show or stuff that I'm going to write about is by checking to see what people are saying. And there have definitely been some interesting trending topics when it comes to Chicago sports figures' names. David Ross has been one of them, but he hasn't been the only one that's been really interesting on trending. What I think is interesting about Ross, and I wrote about it in the column, is that Cubs fans, they want to win right now. Like, they're in win mode right now. And I like that. Like, I like that there is an added level of pressure that is going with Cubs fans now. Like, you're not just going to get away with, well, we're getting better, we're getting better. They took the hits of 2021 and most of 2022 and said you should be getting back on the road to being competitive in 2023, especially with the big layout of money to Dansby Swanson. So back in April, I started to notice Cubs fans looking at David Ross in a more clinical, skeptical way. And I think that that's good. Overall, I think there are some things that I disagree with Rossy, the things that I've seen. Like, I think he bunts too much, but I also think that he bunts in some situations because he doesn't trust some of the, I don't want to say like he doesn't trust some of the players on his roster, but I think that he feels it's more likely that they will get the job done with a bunt than with swinging the bat. Let's say it that way. There have been some moments where I've questioned, why is he going to that guy in the bullpen instead of that guy? But then you start looking at the way that the Cubs are set up and you go, oh, well, that's why. They don't really have a closer, so they've been trying to figure this stuff out. I guess what I'm saying is that to me, it's still more organizational than managerial. That's not to say that the criticisms from Cubs fans are not valid, because they are. They are valid criticisms. And I was weighing that when I was writing the column. I was weighing the idea of how was this just people being angry because the Cubs lost? And I don't think it's that. I think that it's legitimate, righteous indignation when it comes to the way that the Cubs are playing, and then waking up on Memorial Day and seeing them be in last place. Like, it doesn't make sense. Seeing them have, the second worst record on Memorial Day in the National League. When you look at all the great stories that have happened this year for the Cubs, it doesn't make sense. Dansby Swanson is going to probably be a 4.5, 5 WAR player. Marcus Stroman has the highest WAR of any pitcher in the National League. Horner and Happ have both played great, and they've earned their contract extensions. Christopher Morel has come out of nowhere and just keeps hitting bombs. Cody Bellinger, when healthy, has been really, really good. So you have all of this good, and I haven't even talked about Justin Steele, right? There's another guy who's a Cy Young Award candidate. All of that stuff says that the Cubs should be better. Their run differential says that they should be at least a game above 500. So your anger is righteous, and I'm not here to tell you to not be angry. All I'm saying is that I don't think that it's entirely Rossy's fault. I don't think that we're there yet. That doesn't mean that you all as fans haven't done a good job of putting it on my radar, and anyone who has a platform. I think that there are some legitimate beefs with who he is, but we'll see. So you'll see this. I'm going to throw some videos up here from time to time. If you're new, please subscribe. I promise you will not be let down. We're going to put some new content on. If you haven't checked out the podcast yet, you should subscribe to the podcast, House of L. We have a new pod inside of House of L, which I'm really excited about, especially if you're a Cub fan. It's going to be called My Favorite Cub, and we're going to talk with a bunch of people about their favorite Cub players of all time. So thanks for being patient for those of you who were subscribers here on YouTube, and I promise you there will be more content. All right? Talk to you soon.